Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope everybody's having a wonderful week out there so far. Welcome back to Weather on the Go. A major winter storm is making its presence known across the deep south, from the southern plains all the way across to the mid-Atlantic as we go through late this week and into the weekend. Northwest flow will establish cold air dumping down from Canada on the backside, and then we reload the atmosphere for yet another major winter storm, and this could be the biggest winter storm of January. So we're going to get into the details here in this video. Subscribe to the channel and also follow along with my updates all throughout this month, this winter and beyond, as we have a lot of great updates coming up for you. We have an evening update as well, so subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications, like the video, and share this video on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Let's look here at the snowfall reports that are already coming in over the past 24 hours, and look at these medium dark blues here, even some yellows showing up, 4 to 6, 6 to 8 inch totals already coming in from places just south of Oklahoma City towards the Red River Valley here and into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. McKinney, Texas already picking up near 5 inches or so of snow over the past 24 hours, and it is still snowing. And let's look here at the weather alerts across the country. We have winter weather advisories in the purples extending back into southern New Mexico and West Texas and all the way up here into central Ohio. We have winter storm watches that remain in place across North Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia. Those are in the blues. And then in the pinks, we have winter storm warnings, where we are gearing up for a significant winter storm with snow and ice totals that could be significant here from the Dallas-Fort Worth area up toward Oklahoma City, Little Rock, up here into Memphis, Nashville, even up as far north and east here as Paducah and Lexington in Kentucky as well. That is a major winter storm on the doorstep. And looking here at our temperatures out ahead of this thing, we are looking at some cold temperatures. So there is plenty of cold air for wintry precipitation going into that Thursday and Friday time frame here. Today's Thursday, tomorrow is Friday, and here is the storm this afternoon. We got snow flying here, already seeing that changeover across portions of North Texas into the McKinney area, into Paris, Texas, and back there in towards places like Wichita Falls. All snow in Oklahoma, so Oklahoma City up to Tulsa, all snow this afternoon. Dynamic cooling could set up a pretty significant narrow band of heavy snow from around the Dallas-Fort Worth area up here toward Little Rock as we go into tonight here this evening and into the overnight hours. Heavier rains further south on the warm side of the system, so Victoria, Texas, up there towards Houston metro area, Lake Charles and Shreveport. This promises to be mostly rain going into tonight. Heavy snow band lifts up into Memphis, Nashville, and Knoxville as we go into Friday, and that heavier snow band could lift even further north from there into Paducah, Lexington, and also Evansville up into the Indianapolis region on Friday. Friday night comes along, and this pushes quickly over toward the mid-Atlantic. Looks like snow will be most likely in northern North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, so this is definitely going to affect a little bit of the field conditions, or at least initially for the Baltimore Ravens game that is scheduled here for the weekend. May need some shovels out there for that briefly, and then as we go into Saturday morning, looking at that quickly zipping off the East Coast, maybe some lighter snow on the backside for Boston, down toward the Long Island there in Jersey, but it doesn't look like much snow, and it looks like the cold front could bring some rain to North Florida Saturday morning. So looking at the snowfall totals, the heaviest narrow swath, North Texas up here toward western Tennessee, and you could see a narrow swath but a potent swath of snow, anywhere from around 6 to 10 inches could be expected here in this swath. That includes the Dallas-Fort Worth area up toward Little Rock and even over here toward Memphis. Further east, the snowfall totals will be lighter, a little bit of topography, some lift with the Smoky Mountains and the Appalachians could kind of squeeze out like a sponge some of the snowfall into the form of around 6 to 8 inches in East Tennessee, so don't be surprised to see that into the Cumberland Plateau either, from Crossville over there to Gatlinburg and even in toward areas like Knoxville, Johnston City, Tennessee. And then looking at ice, not that big of a deal compared to ice of the previous system that we saw earlier on last week, but still some formidable ice there for Texas, a few hundredths of an inch to a tenth of an inch of ice, and same thing over here from the Atlanta metro over towards Charlotte. We could be seeing potentially a tenth to 2/10 of an inch of ice with this system. So looking at travel, as far as travel is concerned, difficult travel from the DFW Metroplex up toward Little Rock today into areas like Oklahoma City, as well as down here in extreme southern portions of southern Arkansas. We could be seeing those major extreme travel impacts. So if travel takes you down into this region, just realize it's going to be difficult at times. And then as we go into Friday, more moderate travel conveniences across western and middle Tennessee, from the Music City in Nashville back there toward Memphis and even into northern Mississippi into the Tupelo area on Friday. What people don't talk about is, with winter storms, there's still a warm side here. So we have heavier rains with this further south. So Houston could be picking up near 3 inches worth of rain. Same thing over here into Lake Charles, a good 1 to 2 inch soaking here as well, extending up toward Monroe and Shreveport over here into the Jackson, Mississippi area, 1 to 3 inches worth of rain, extending it further east into the southeast view. The rainfall will become a little bit lighter the further east you get, but still decent soaking, anywhere from a 1/2 inch upwards to 2 inches here, and especially the further west you go into Alabama, that's where the heaviest of the rains will be. Looking at that as well, the flash flood probabilities are low, but it's a marginal risk for flash floods, including here the areas like the New Orleans region, Gulfport, Mississippi, over toward Mobile. So we'll be keeping an eye on that going into your Friday, January 10th timeframe. Behind this system, we're going to establish northwest flow, which means that's going to come over fresh snowpack and more cold temperatures extending into the weekend for both Saturday and Sunday, January 11th and 12th. And that is going to bring down a clipper system, what we call an Alberta or a Saskatchewan clipper from Canada, bringing some light snow across the northern Rockies and upper Midwest here as we go into Saturday and Sunday. This won't be a blockbuster snow event at all, but definitely bringing some lighter snow totals on the order of 1 to perhaps 2 inches across portions of Wisconsin, Michigan, back here into Minnesota, the Hawkeye state of Iowa, the Dakotas, Nebraska, all the way back into Montana again, into Wyoming and northern Colorado, keeping an eye on that for the weekend. As we go into next week, the winter-like temperatures just continue. In fact, we have another shot of cold air by the middle of next week here for the east, and this is between January 13th and the 17th timeframe. Let's talk about these temperatures. High temperatures Monday afternoon, we're below zero, single digits below zero for high temperatures. Yes, Monday afternoon across North Dakota, north central Minnesota, and northwest Wisconsin. Single digits above zero and teens above zero for highs further south all the way down here into the fresh snowpack areas of Kansas, Missouri, and downstate Illinois. Wednesday looks like a very cold day across the Midwest. The Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes in the Northeast, temperatures barely getting above the 10-degree mark in a lot of these areas here. The freezing line very far south into the southeast, and then we start to rebound with return flow out of the south and southwest on Friday, which could get our temperatures above freezing into parts of the Midwest, while still hanging on to some of that Arctic air in the Northeast into the teens by Friday afternoon. The coldest of the air, the much below normal temperatures, will be the strongest on the 16th of January here across the mid-Atlantic and southeast coasts, all the way down to central Florida. So you're going to feel it there, even in the Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee area as we go into the 16th of January. Much below normal temperatures, and it's going to be dry air. Arctic air is dry air, folks, so we're going to be seeing a kind of a drier, more inactive week of weather as we go into next week between the 13th and the 17th of January. A little bit more active out here toward West Texas and the Western Plains, but that will be some lighter precipitation. Notice how light the precipitation is, and any snowfall that does fall will be well up to the north in Canada. We go to the Canadian view here. Very heavy snows from coastal Alaska down into southwestern Yukon and the western coastline of British Columbia over here. Feet of snow in the higher elevations, and then that clipper storm track goes all the way north here into the Northwest Territories, northern Saskatchewan, northern Manitoba, and into Ontario here, and that could translate over into Quebec as well as we go into next week. Let's talk about this pattern change as we go into the last week or so of January, because this could bring a moisture-laden system across the middle of the country and potentially the biggest winter storm of January, looking between Friday, January 17th and the following Friday, January 24th, a long wave trough is going to develop in the western U.S. A ridge will develop in the southeast and up the east coast, which means milder temperatures out ahead of the system and cold air aloft along with the system here. Look at the blocking up in Alaska. This is a classic winter storm look for the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Central Plains, and this is exactly what we're looking for, is a stronger low pressure system to originate down here toward the southern plains and move up what we call the baroclinic zone here between warm air to the east and colder air to the west, and right in between what we call the battle zone or the baroclinic zone here, that is where that stronger low pressure system track will be. And the Climate Prediction Center is keying in on that. We have between the 17th and 20th of January, heavy rains coming back into the picture for the Dixie Alley up there toward Tennessee. Some of this could be severe weather that we have to keep an eye on as well. And then on the northwest side of that low pressure storm track, as the colder Arctic air comes in, mixes with moisture, changing that rain over to snow. And this gives me 2011 Groundhog Day blizzard vibes. Probably not seeing a major blizzard with this, at least for now, but we'll keep an eye on this. A large area with a slight risk for heavy snow between the 18th and the 20th of January, and this could include places that haven't seen a lot of snow yet this winter, like Chicago or Des Moines, St. Louis, back here towards places here of Denver, or even up into Green Bay, Detroit. So a lot of these areas that haven't seen snow this winter so far, or a lot of it anyway, will start to get in on the action towards that last week or so of January. Behind that storm system could be the coldest shot of air so far of the winter season. The atmosphere is really going to reload here, and the polar vortex conversation will come back into play late January, and that could really spill down some very cold temperatures. Look at these pinks and purples here from Alberta, Saskatchewan, down here into the front range of the Rockies in eastern Colorado. Those are temperatures in late January, yes, late January, that are 30 to 35 degrees below normal, and that is something to keep an eye on here, especially with some of that fresh snowpack sticking around. That it could enhance some of that cold air dropping south all the way to Texas and even the Gulf Coast as we go into that time frame between the 17th and the 24th. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll check back often for updates as well. We'll have an evening update for you here this evening, updating you on the winter storm potential in the long range and the winter storm that's happening now. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday out there.